Hello friends, welcome to SQL Server tutorial. In this video, we will learn what is workload group. We know that a resource pool knows the limits of consuming the resource. And in our previous video, we created a resource pool with a minimum of 5% CPU and maximum of 20% CPU. The same way, we specified the memory in terms of percentage, 5%, minimum, maximum 20%. So that way, the resource pool, whatever we created, we can say that my resource pool knows the limits of consuming the resource. It will not exceed consuming the 20% of CPU time slice given to the SQL Server by the OS. So you can think of creating the resource pool like this, and let's state that this is a resource pool 1 R1 and this is a resource pool R2, like we created my resource pool, right? Likewise, let's state that there are two resource pool created, R1 and R2. R1 consumes more CPU and memory freely. Let's state that the minimum requirement itself 40% here for CPU and the maximum is 65% CPU, and same goes for memory. And this one is for background task. Let's state 5% quota of minimum CPU and maximum is 15% only. Same goes for memory. You can think of this as a resource pool for doing the background task. Let's state the nightly jobs that will take the database backup, checks the day-to-day transaction or daily transaction, and moves some of the data to data warehouse. So all this stuff can be a slow running task, automated task that doesn't require any user intervention. So it can be given low CPU as well as memory, since it runs on midnight, 12 or early morning 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. right? Other task, the busy day task, will be given this resource pool. So you can think of resource pool. Resource pool knows the limits of consuming the resources. Once the resource pool is ready, likewise in our database application, you can create multiple resource pool based on the operation that takes place in the database. Say in a retail shop based database, there will be tables like sales, purchase, inventory, maintenance, all those stuff, right? So based on those, you can create resource pools. Say for operations, sales and purchase, that's a transaction, right? You can give a bigger resource pool. For management task like adding a product, removing a product, for those kind of master data, you can give a smaller resource pool. So once the resource pool is ready, one or more workload group. So workload group is what we discussed now, like sales, purchase, one workload group. Managing the product is one workload group, and if a specific workstation is assigned, it will be easy to segregate this workload group based on the workstation name. Alright, so once a resource pool is ready, one or more workload groups are assigned towards it. Say for example, here we have 3 workload group, WG1, WG2, WG3. Workload group 1 and workload group 2 is using the first resource pool, and workload group 3 is using the second resource pool. We can add users to the workload group. Here at present we have 3 workload group and 2 resource pools, right? you can have multiple users in your system, and you can assign the users to the workload group. Thereby, you are asking these users to consume the resource on a specific resource pool. Let's state that these two users are automated users. Let's say DTS user. This automated DTS user will perform data transfer, moving the data from day-to-day database transaction to a history-based database. And this is a BK user, or this user will perform a daily database backup task through jobs. Right. Likewise, you can create user, assign them to the workload group, and assign the workload group to a resource pool. The users are now given specific resource pool to use, and if you see, these are all the users using our group 1 and thereby assigned with resource pool 1. Like resource pool, there are two types of groups. System groups. One is internal, used by the database engine, and another one is default. Sessions that does not belongs to any workload group will make use of this default group. So in the previous video, we expanded the system resource pool, right? The system resource pools are internal and default. When we expand, that time itself we saw the resource pool contains the workload group. Say for example, the internal resource pool had workload group called internal. The same way, the default resource pool had the workload group named with the same name, default. We saw that in the previous video, right? Alright, that's all here in this video. Now you got an idea of a relationship between workload group, how users are assigned to the workload group, and then how the workload group is consuming the resource from a specific resource pool. That's all here in this video. There is no demo in here. In the next video, we will create some workload group. Thank you for watching. Bye.